You are listening to Claret and Blue, an Aston Villa podcast brought to you by Birmingham Live.
Good morning, James. How are you?
All good, thank you. Yeah, it's an early one today.
It is an early one. I'm not quite awake yet, but it's Premier League fixture release day. It's like Christmas Day for football fans. Are you excited, James, about the fixtures being out?
Honestly, it's very easy to be like a Grinch, isn't it, about this and be all a bit moody, but it's fun. Like it's just heavy. It's like one of the free Christmas days you get, which is you get your big signing. That's one. The kit release. That's two, and fixture release. There's three football Christmases, and they all come out kind of the same time.
Isn't starting the season the real football Christmas though? These are like
it
Christmas
depends
Eve.
if you win. It's all right. Like I mean, Spurs last season was all right, weren't it? It was, even though Villa kind of lost, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, we should say you're also on a writing shift this morning, so the reason you keep looking away isn't because you're totally bored. It's because
it's really rude.
Yeah, there's so many things going on. This is the life of having to do written and video work about fixture release day. This is a big day for the sports journalism calendar, I guess. So we're going to go through the fixtures. Villa have released a lovely, nice-looking graphic that we're going to put on screen. I've also done one, but it's not as good. So this is courtesy of the Villa Twitter page. We start the season then September 12th, Man City away. But of course, Man City have only just finished their season a couple of days ago, and that game will be rearranged. So we'll already be a game behind from match day one.
Yeah, it's annoying because it's like, why would you release that and go? It's like, oh, afterwards, it's like, oh, and there's more. But wait, there's more, and it's like postponed. It was it's I don't know why they did that. If I'm completely honest, I know they have to. It's like I guess they have to put it there because it is the first fixture, but it isn't because Villa won't be playing it, so they won't be there at all that day, which is it's odd.
There's an international break, isn't there, fairly on in the season? So I don't know when that Man City game will be rearranged to. It's just it's a weird scenario, isn't it? You don't want to be your games behind early on in a season at any point, but to be match day one already bottom of the league because you've not played is a bit rubbish, isn't it?
Yeah, I think going in to Sheffield United is going to be such an odd game. I can't remember the last time it happened. It might have been 2011 due to like police disruption or the riots or something that we didn't play. So on the first day we missed a fixture. So yeah, it's truly odd, kind of unprecedented for me to kind of watch all this happen and Villa not play, and it's not like on the same day. It's an odd one. I guess they have to do it because it's only fair to Man City and teams that play in Europe and everything that's happened that they have to have this delay. But
yeah, of course,
if it was on the other side, we'll be all over it. If we had to play until late August or mid-August, we'll be absolutely the same, saying we can't play that first day fixture. Yeah. But this is how things go. What truly matters is how Villa do. Those last 8 games look really tough.
Yeah, well, let's get my not as good graphic on. Oh, there we go. You can see us and see all the fixtures from September to January to begin with. Yeah, that Sheffield... I mean, hopefully there's no spelling mistakes in there because this has been early while I was making this. That Sheffield United game, obviously the first home game, but we don't expect fans to be inside stadiums until when? October at the earliest was one early estimation.
A month of fixtures, aren't you, without any fans, if at all.
And that being kind of a trial run of 5,000, 10,000, something like that. So... There's been a lot of talk about which kind of games would you prefer to have first and which away games are you looking forward to, and it's until we know when we're allowed back in stadiums, it all kind of feels a little bit irrelevant home and away, doesn't it, to be honest? But you look at those first run of fixtures, those first 2 months, if I can get my words out, you got Man City, Liverpool and Leicester, who obviously all finished pretty high last season. I was going to say all in the top 4, but obviously Leicester missed out. You've got 2 promoted teams in there as well, Fulham and Leeds, and then Sheffield United, who obviously overperformed last year, and Southampton, who had a mixed bag of a season, poor first half, great second half. Again, it's hard to kind of look ahead and predict, isn't it, because you don't know what these teams are going to be like next year, but there's a handful of tough fixtures in there, and even the games that you look at as easier aren't going to be easy, are they?
No. It's just it depends on what happens. It depends on it's like one thing I really remember. It's nothing to do with the Premier League. is kind of how Reading fell off after their playoff final, and everyone was like, "Oh, I want to avoid them because they're in the playoff final," and just collapsed. So it's things like that. It's not. I guess it's not so totally common in the Premier League because you've got these established massive teams and you can't get promoted out of it, right? So you're always building on and building on. But I feel like Villa probably had that worst case scenario when they drew Man City on the opening day. It's a really odd one that I still can't get over. It's like both Manchester, all the European teams you played in Europe aren't going to play on the first day. But here you go. Let's announce that Villa are playing on. It caught me out. It really did. I was like,
well, first minute, second, I was like, oh, Man City first day, and then you go, oh, actually, we won't even play. So really, if Sheffield United aren't the team that they were this season just gone, Sheffield United at home and Fulham away is the first 2 games of the season aren't terrible, are they? And then obviously Liverpool is whatever, and then Leicester, Leeds, Southampton again. There's worse starts to the season, is what I'm trying to say, but. The ending's pretty bad, isn't it? that last month of fixtures, we need to be safe by then. May, Everton, Man United, Palace, Spurs and Chelsea. Similar to the end of the season we've just had, to be fair. 3 of those 5 are the same.
If you go from April, Liverpool away, it doesn't look pretty at all.
Oh, God, yeah. I'd not even noticed that. Liverpool, Man City, West Brom, Everton, Man United, Palace, Spurs, Chelsea. Jeez, yeah, that's a tough running, isn't it? If we are going to have a struggling season, you're looking at that run of Leeds, Wolves, Newcastle, Sheffield United, Fulham. You want to be getting your points by then, don't you? So Villa need to be close to safe. Well, hopefully we're far away anyway, but if it is if it is a tough season, you want to be close to safe by the start of April, which is a difficult ask.
Yeah, I guess the way the fixtures work is if it's congested with kind of a lot of strong teams down the bottom, that there should be gaps elsewhere. So I think people were saying December's been fairly easy to Villa. January looks all right as well. I wouldn't be complaining too much about October or November as well, and even going into February. So there is a lot of back. It's quite at the back end. It is quite strong.
Yeah.
But the middle bit, hopefully Villa don't have that kind of Christmas stumble that's been like that odd cult tradition.
I mean, it's Villa, isn't it? So that will happen.
It probably seemed to happen every year when I was a kid. When I remember Graham Taylor managing us and David O'Leary, and it seemed like we was flying high. Every Christmas, like you'd be opening the presents and looking at the league table, and where's Villa gone? But you got to just hope for better things. Again, if I say people fearing the hazard at the end. Dean Smith's got to watch out for these last 8 games. If we're in place, if we put all the pieces in place, why worry? I mean, we were worried about this season's last few fixtures. I'm sure we were. Well, season's fixtures. It's always the case.
And we're almost right to be worried as well until the very end. We're now also at that nice point where we can start saying this season, meaning about this upcoming season, isn't next season anymore. This feels like the first day of the calendar announced. We can now say this season, meaning 2021. So let's see what people are saying in the comments then. Is there any opinions coming through? Chris Brandt says, I actually think fixtures look fairly well spread. End of the season is fairly horrible again, but hopefully we'll higher up in the league this season. Which, if your aim is to not be in a relegation battle, you shouldn't be looking at those last 4 or 5 fixtures with any worry anyway, because you should be well out of it by then.
Yeah, you can't think of it like that. I mean, there is a bit of imbalance in the fixtures usually because of that's how stuff is laid out. I mean, we've all had Spotify and Shuffle right, and the same like a same album comes up twice, and it like random's random, and it doesn't guarantee anything, and it doesn't guarantee good runs or hard runs. It only guarantees that here's your 38 games for the season. That's literally it. So again, Villa got to put themselves in the best foot forward, and I feel like having that week off, I mean, the way Villa approach games with kind of that analytical eye, having that week off, if it is, I don't even know what they'll do. Do we just not play at all? Because it just seems like we could just play a team like who has had a fixture postponed as well against them. There must be more.
Yeah, so. I wonder who Man United are playing.
I feel like it might be a Burnley or something. There's got to be it can't just be us who has just been drawn.
No, Man United, whoever played Man United won't be playing that week either, but I don't think it'll be rearranged that we end up playing that team, because that would make far too much sense for the Premier League to say, oh, why don't we just get those two to play each other?
Why not build this in to the system? Like, that's what I don't get. It's like, why not account for this obvious thing?
Because it's the Premier League, mate. It's not as easy as that. That'd be way too much common sense. Yeah, it's just weird, isn't it? Because I mean, it does feel a little bit futile to talk about fixtures with any massive trying to overanalyze things, because it's like, well, you play every team twice in a random order, and it's like, well, you have to play everyone regardless of how the fixtures look. I've seen a few comments to kind of say, well, us having a delay in the start of the season gives us extra time to gel people in, and it's almost like an extra week of pre-season. Maybe we'll play behind closed doors friendly that week or something like that we get a bit of extra time. Is there anything in that you can see that because we'll be playing a little bit after everyone else, that's an extra week to prepare almost?
Yeah, there's people asking as well in the comments when the Man City game will be played. They said it's not September and not before October, so it's like, this is that.
Well, it won't be Christmas either, will it? Because there's loads of fixtures in Christmas.
Like, that's really frustrating. It's like, you knew this was going to happen. Like, you knew. Like, how could you not know this is going to happen?
I mean,
like,
part of me is kind of glad not to play Man City on the opening day.
Yeah, I guess, but
because you could be looking at that and going, well, we might get battered 6-0.
Yeah, like we just said, like looking like Villa with the way they kind of approach games and having a week of footage on the team they'll be playing. Hopefully, the week after, if Sheffield United on, I haven't even looked. I don't care who Sheffield United are playing on the first
Let's
game.
have a look.
Completely honest, but if they've got a week kind of to see kind of what's going on in the league, what if there's any new things people are deploying in terms of tactical roles, probably not, to be fair. But they have a week of footage and that stands them in good stead. And a week of rest. So it can be a boost, not playing on the first day. It can also be a kind of odd, kind of jolting you out of the league a little bit. Game in hand already suits Villa, if I'm honest, from the get-go.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? You either look at Man City and think, oh, thank God we avoided an opening day battering, or you think, oh, maybe Man City might be a little bit cold on the first day and we could have snuck a result early.
So these Brighton, this Chelsea and Wolves, that has been pushed back anyway. So
they play the Monday, so you've got Sheffield United are playing Wolves. We play Sheffield United on the second week. But yeah, the Premier League website has already got Man City and Villa and Burnley and Man United dates to be confirmed as the top list anyway. So someone's put in the comments, it makes sense. It's like we've just said, just put us against Burnley and rearrange our Burnley fixture later in the season. But I suppose that would create
just
a complication
City
somewhere.
Versus United on the 15th of September and put us like why?
Yeah.
Because look, they've done it with Wolves and Chelsea, which is the annoying thing. They've moved those fixtures due to European congestion and actually put them in the list. So Chelsea and Wolves went got fairly deep into the Europa League or Champions League. They got knocked out. I don't know. I don't even care about where Chelsea were playing, if I'm honest.
Yeah, but I suppose they've only been pushed back from the Saturday to the Monday though, so it's not like a massive break.
Yeah, but that's just the structures there. They've made the mechanism in place to delay these games. So I don't know why that ain't happened with Villa. If I'm perfectly honest, and I'm not speaking for Villa or Dean Smith, put us on the 15th. We'll take Sheffield United as well on the 19th. Let's do it.
Okay, put that to the Premier League. Matthew says we've got to target Sheffield United and Fulham, get a good start and not be on the back foot from the start, which is the ideal scenario, isn't it? You don't want to be playing catch up in terms of games played and points from early days. So yeah, you will be looking at those games with Sheffield United, Fulham, Leeds, even Southampton in those first couple of months, as they're the places you want to pick up points. What do you think of those opening six then, James, when you look at them like that? Obviously, we've talked about Man City won't be one of those. So opening five, existing. Sheffield United, Fulham, Liverpool, Leicester and Leeds. 5 games to be played there in the first 5. How many points are we looking at, do you think, if you had to put a guess on it?
I think there's 3 wins there for Villa. There's got to be 9 points there. Maybe that's me being far too optimistic, but I get scared.
I was going to say, where are those wins coming from, do you think? Which 3?
I would go, I feel like Villa can beat Sheffield United without the use of Hawkeye. I feel like we should be beating Fulham. And I reckon there's a surprise one against Leicester City there. I feel Leeds will be really tough, to be honest.
I was going to say, you don't know what to expect from Leeds, do you?
No,
someone in the comments has said that Leeds will finish 20th and don't worry about them, and someone else is like, well, now I think Leeds will be a bit of a wild card, so I don't know what to expect from Leeds, to be honest.
Yeah, to be honest, we're not going to know. It's how teams adjust. Like West Brom could spend 10 million and be a surprise package. Leeds could spend loads and be a bit awful. Like you don't like. It's like we said. We've probably felt with Villa. Like there's no way we can struggle with the money we spent, and that's irrelative. You know what I mean? It's kind of how you take and how your squad adapts and the strength of the unit altogether. 7 points, Curtis has said, which is 7 points is good. Any points is good after.
Just get some
season.
Points on the board. Yeah,
give me 3. Give me 6. Just give me points.
So this is what Phil says. I'm going 10, destroying Leeds along the way.
They will not be happy with that on Twitter.
I don't know about Leeds. Yeah, let's answer a couple of questions then, 'cause I'm not going to be here all day, another couple of minutes. Danny Barker says, any news on pre-season games?
So
Not as
the
far as I've heard.
preseason from other teams, it's like behind closed doors. Do you know how Villa played Leicester over that 2 legs?
Yeah.
Like training games stuff. It's going to be stuff like that. You're not going if I'm thinking straight, you ain't going to a pre-season game, unfortunately.
I don't think there'll be any international travelling, will there? Pre-season
not.
camps in Germany and things like that. I'd assume everything will be done in this country. But yeah, we'll wait and hear anything from Villa.
So Kevin says, realistic for us to aim for safety after the Fulham game at the start of April. You know, if you talk to me safe in April, I'm fine with that. Like, I'm absolutely fine with that. So in April, if we are safe by the start of April, that'll be a massively positive season in my eyes, unless it's a complete train wreck up until that point.
Well, yeah, if you're safe with 9 games to go,
that's very good, isn't it?
That's a good achievement, isn't it? If you were on 40 points at the start of April, you've then got 9 games to get as many more points as you can to finish as high as you can. You'd definitely take that. But if Villa are, I suppose it depends, doesn't it? There's a lot of people saying things like we need to wait and see what the recruitment's like, and of course we'll give our kind of more in-depth predictions on the season once the transfer window closes. But if Villa are going to want to have a season when they finish 13th, 12th, 11th, you'd be safe by April anyway to have a season like that. So you should be looking at that being a kind of milestone to say, well, the end of the season doesn't matter to some degree, because we don't need points from May to. I'm circling it with my mouse here, but no one can even see it. You don't need points to say up like this start the season we've just had, where you need points from those final 5 or 6 games. If you're safe by April, you'd absolutely snap your hand off that.
Yeah. Like, I'd rather be scared by other teams. I'd rather be like 9 points clear by that Fulham game and go, oh, everyone else is kicking on, we need a result, rather than facing those games and being on a level footing. Like, even if it's like a 3 or 6 point lead, you know what I mean? If you was on like 1 point behind, like, and you were like 18th and you needed to kind of pick up something in those games or match results, that'd be scary. So I'd rather be, even 3 points clear by then, just so you've got that like buffer. And it wouldn't have mattered this season, I guess, but last season. But this upcoming season, I feel like any kind of barrier to safety by then would be a net, of course, obviously a net positive.
A couple more questions. Paul Hunt says, hearing a lot about new players, can you confirm any definite signings? James, can you announce anyone this morning live on Facebook?
No. I think Ollie Watkins is probably the most likely thing to happen. We missed out on Aaron Ramsdale yesterday. Don't think it was ever going to happen, to be fair.
Oh yeah, exactly. We're talking about this going, do we need this goalkeeper? Ramsdale's been linked to them on the same day he signs for Sheffield United.
We made a massive effort to thought, right, we'll tackle rumours, we'll do our job, and we'll have so much fun with everyone on Facebook Live. Then, like 3 minutes later, like signing confirmed, Comunicado Oficial. Aaron Ramsdale signed for Blades.
That's peak us, isn't it? Phil Curley says, can't wait for December. Wolves baggies. I think they're both away as well. And then a Boxing Day home fixture, which is nice. But again, are we going to be going to a home Boxing Day fixture? No one knows. Do that at this point. So. It'd be nice.
Got to have common sense. You got to, keep your social distancing up. We can't got to flatten the curve, isn't it?
It's a question someone asked about season tickets earlier, and obviously there's been nothing announced, and I don't imagine there will be. Yeah. How do you think that integration of getting fans back into stadiums will work? And I know we've not heard anything. There's all these trials about 1,000 here and 5,000 there and all this kind of thing. What's your kind of take on that? Is it you look at an age gap and think, well, over 70s are more at risk, so we just say no old people can come to Villa Park, and we narrow it down to a smaller age range, or how does that work?
Oh, man, you're asking a lot of deep questions here, man.
It's early morning, mate. Let's go for it.
If I was going to go for it, I think, honestly, because the season tickets have been refunded and stuff, and there's no new season ticket holders, I'd be very inclined to kind of offer so many seats to last season's season ticket holders and kind of make almost like a lucky dip for the other 10 or so odd thousand. You got to kind of have that balance. It would be tricky if it was kind of halfway through the season. You know what I mean? And people have bought season tickets and you didn't know what to do. Because there's no season ticket holders, everyone's really... I know there's people who've been going like 10, 15, 20 years, 30 years down the Villa. This is a different season completely. And, people who probably have been going for a very long time might not be allowed entry in. I don't know, because that could be like a discriminative discriminatory issue, right? Like if you're not letting people in there, they could fight that or whatever. So I think Villa have probably got to be pretty open, pretty fair, and pretty randomised with their selection.
Yeah.
If I'm totally honest.
I've definitely opened a can of worms there, so we'll certainly move on to something a little bit more light-hearted before we leave. You asked me to set up a Fantasy Premier League Fantasy Premier League, for the Claret Blue podcast audience. So I've made a team this morning very, very fast, like 7:30 this morning. Funnily titled Gone by October, because I can never be bothered with Fantasy Premier League. I always just give up. I stop making changes and I'm miles behind everyone else. So I've made my team. I'm going to quickly show it.
I'm going to win this.
It's poor, to be honest. I've got Patricio, Alexander-Arnold, Van Dijk, Wan-Bissaka and Chilwell. Hopefully moves to Chelsea. Rashford, Lundstrom, Traore, De Bruyne, Captain Grealish, of course, and Jimenez. Which, to be fair, it's not that bad, but it is hastily thrown together.
I mean, you are taking a hit in game week 1, though, aren't you? Because
I didn't realise the Man City or Man United thing.
4 of your players you cannot use.
But anyway, I've just made it literally just so I can set up a league. So the league is called Claret and Blue. The code you need to join is ebrxzn. There will be a link in the description of the podcast that you can go and sign up to the Fantasy Premier League and try and compete with us. You'll definitely beat me because I will stop changing my team at some point. James, I think you'll probably give up as well at some stage. But if you do join it, we'll sort a prize for the end of the season. Maybe a shirt or a jacket or whatever. I don't know. We'll see what we can get through expenses. I've not asked anyone about whether we can do a prize, so if not, I will have to pay for that myself.
Do you have to give him a mug again?
Yeah, maybe a Claret Blue mug. I mean, that's very much a Brewby prize, isn't it? If you come second and you just miss out on the top prize, you can get a Claret Blue mug. If you win, you can have a shirt or something. So go over
you can have the
to
shirt
the
off Dan's back.
Yeah.
He's so kind. Give you the shirt off his back.
So go over to our Fantasy Premier League league, Claret and Blue. There is a code. I'll put it in the description of this Facebook Live as well. So go over and get involved. James, thanks for joining me very quickly this morning to go over the fixtures. As we said, breaking news. Villa play everybody twice. We'll be missing the first game of the season because Man City are delaying the start to their season. We'll be back to discuss something at a later stage. We can't really go any further with predictions and stuff until we start signing players. So Villa need to do something for us to start talking about new things, because I can't do another episode on Rashista, Ollie Watkins and Ben Rama because I'm bored now, and so is everyone else. So Villa, make some signings so we can talk about something. Yes, thanks everyone for joining us. Just on a quick one this morning. James, go back to work, do some proper work instead of messing about. And we'll see everyone again soon. Thank you very much.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Claret and Blue, an Aston Villa podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, then please let us know. We love hearing your feedback. We'll be back soon with another episode. Until then, up the Villa.